So we join back in with our adventurers. After last week, the group had had some moments to maybe rest and relax, but also a chance to bond with each other a little bit. Dante and sorry,
Aileni.
Dante, Aileni. Sorry, it's because I looked towards your name to say it, and then it's Emma, and then it was like the same and then I nearly said Emma, but right, it's fine.
I'll change it back.
No, it's all good. I change mine when I have other meetings, so it's like I have to. But anyway, yeah. So Dante and Aileni finding some common ground in each of their histories, sharing with each other some of the traumas that they have experienced, and downstairs in the party, Volu and Ichi having a chance to maybe go over how the initial meeting wasn't as smooth as maybe it could be, but how things have changed, and I feel like the group has come together as a whole. So as we join in now, we
I think
are
you're a
waking up.
whole.
Yeah, you're waking up the next morning. Um, say probably Ichi and Volu probably a little bit more tired than the others, but all of you feeling the exhaustion of the it's still, the race and everything that went on. It's still like tense in the bodies, and the first moment to really lie and relax.
Liam, could I get up really, really early? I want to get up earlier than everyone else.
Are you going for early enough that you don't get a proper long rest? Is the question. Because
Well,
you need 8
it wasn't
hours,
late
and it
when
wasn't
we
late.
went
It
to
was
bed.
maybe like 9-10. So if you want to,
Yeah.
if you want to get up like dead on the.
Yeah, so I'm talking like 6 or as early as I can to have got my long rest in.
To be fair, you can still go if you almost do, because normally we do. It's 2 hours of doing whatever,
Yeah,
and then 6 hours sleeping.
yeah,
If you almost reverse it, so you do your 6 hours sleep, and
yeah,
then you get up and do some light stuff in the 2 hour.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
So what we'll say is, if everyone else is waking up, do maths honestly, about 6 a.m. ish, 6-7, you're gonna wake up about 5.
Yeah, I would write a
And
note for Volu and
give me a quick stealth. It's not too difficult because A is asleep and B, he was partying a little bit.
16.
Volu likes to sleep.
If Ichi's going to be hungover, then Dante is just still like this.
But yeah, I'd say with a 16, you could definitely Volu maybe like, but it's like nothing more than just rolling over and the general disturbance. You write a small note. Feel free to message that to Volu for them to read when they read it.
Well, what time are we due at the place that the ceremony starts?
Yes,
What are we?
in terms of the scheduling, you don't know a specific time. All the others, you were sort of, you had a letter that told you come at this time. You haven't received that this time. Maybe due to the end, how the race ended. Maybe due to some other things going on. But you do know that the beginning of the announcements, and there's some lead up over the stuff. They're going to talk about how great the festival was. So that generally the day is going to go that about 9 the announcements, the things are supposed to kick off, and this is public, so you would expect probably to be picked up half an hour before, or for some sort of note or message to come earlier to tell you what to do. But yes, you're gonna make a little note. It's about 5 a.m. It's sun's just peaking. You're getting that early light.
And it's just going to be, I'll be back at 8:30, something like that, just so that he knows I haven't, been mysteriously kidnapped in the middle of the night or something like that. And then I would change my cloak to something brown and dusty and old looking, scuffed. Still with a full hood though, so that I can pull it all the way over. And I would head out of the Rusty Bucket. Does it look like Dana's up yet?
No, it would be the early morning. So there's a young human male just sort of like opening up, cleaning up the things. There's no one in here at this time.
Do I know
And to be
this
honest,
person?
it would probably be just like it's an inn, so there's not really closing hours, but there's times when the bar isn't serving and those
But
sorts of
Dana
things.
has the shop opposite, doesn't she? From the
She does. But also you remember seeing Dana at the party last night. Her and Alara who threw it, and they were taking part in the festivities. So you don't know how early they might. But yeah, you've seen this human male before, but only in passing. Like they're usually leaving at the time you get up.
Okay.
They definitely just sort of so they're like more kitchen prep and all those sorts of
Okay.
things.
I would still hide my face from him and try and
Mhm.
sneak out without making too much of a fuss.
Yeah, we're holding the
Um,
16. They don't really look up. They're busy. They're doing stuff.
yeah.
They're making more bangs and noises as they're mopping and cleaning and trying to get things ready.
Coming out onto the street, is there anybody on the street? Is there any sign of anybody lurking around or?
Give me a perception as you step out. As you step out, cool morning air hits you. It's almost that beginnings of the dry heat kicking in as the sun starts to hit the city.
21.
Okay, you take a quick glance around. Doesn't seem to be anybody. You see a ways down towards the main road that you see like is one car that's sort of doing. It looks like it's transporting goods. Seems to be heading down towards the Crucible, and you would see more towards the main road because,
Yeah.
and I think with the 21, you would notice that it's a lot of guards, official people wearing the city's colours.
Yeah.
You would imagine the pre-setup to whatever is going to happen later is happening now,
Okay.
or beginning to happen at least.
So I want to. If Dana's shop all looks shut up properly, I think have I been round the back of Dana's shop before? I think I did when I was hiding from Madame Oracle's.
You not quite. It wasn't quite Danish, but you jumped over
Yeah.
further down, but you've been onto that like back street.
So I want to go round onto the back street. Is there a back door?
To Dana's. Yeah.
I'm going to knock, not too loud, just a normal knock. I'm not like hammering it. And I'll wait.
Yes. I'm gonna say you wait a minute. There's no noise, no sound.
I'm going to cast Mage Hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to make it float up to the windows at the back and knock on each of the windows.
Okay. Okay. So there's a pause again for a moment. And then middle-aged half-orc you don't recognize pops the head out the window. Like they look tired, dreary, not dressed. You see as they're sort of leaning out, and they're like, "Yeah, you good? What's up?"
Is Dana here?
Yeah, she's pretty zonked out though. Dana. She's pretty out of it. Need something?
Well, yes. But if she's not with us, then it'll have to wait. I'm sorry for disturbing you.
Do you want me to let her know when she wakes up?
I'll see her later. But thank you.
Right. He sort of rubs his head. You notice he leaves the window open, and you would sort of hear it creaks and groans as somebody gets back into bed.
Okay. It's way too early for any shops to be open.
Yeah, the only thing depends what you're looking for.
I am looking for something to dye my hair with.
Give me a survival check.
20.
Okay. So shop-wise, probably not. You might catch some of the very, very early. But during the race yesterday, and actually the few times that you went out and saw things, there's the few shrub bushes that are out there that you notice grow like small blackberry-like.
Okay.
And you reckon it's not going to be like a long-term or permanent thing. But if you're able to collect enough of them, you'd be able to at least add a purpley black stain to the colour of your hair.
That sounds brilliant. Okay, I will head out and look for those then.
Okay, I'll say prevailing with the dirty 20. It is going to take maybe an hour to get out there to collect them. I say so at the end of the hour, you've got like a good bag full. Again, unless you're trying to get more, you'd have enough for for the first dye. You don't really you.
No, it's something for today, and then I'll try and find something more permanent.
Yeah, not a problem. But yeah, you think you managed to within an hour, you managed to collect up enough, and I'd say that you're coming back through the crucible at the end of that hour, if that makes sense. As you're moving through, it's getting to about 10 past 6-ish, and you are starting to see some of the stall vendors beginning to set up. Like arriving and opening up. They're not like ready to go, but they're preparing. You would see that the stage is sort of has been moved and built and set up again, and they're sort of lining out. You are seeing a heavier presence of guards, but also interestingly, with every unit of guards you have seen, there is a cleric, a priest, at least one of the Andonite priests. And you would noticeably, as you're like, oh, that wasn't there yesterday, or any of the other times you've been in the city. They weren't moving as units, but they definitely are today.
Okay, I would take a good look as I'm walking past, just to make sure I know where the stage is. I'd be looking to see, is it possible for someone to hide under the stage, or and how much distance there is from the stage to where the crowd's going to be. I'm just taking all of that in as I'm.
I'd say you definitely can gather all that information, and I'd say as you're doing that as well, you would also spot probably towards as you're moving through and you're gathering your bits. Occasionally, a few people will give you very specific looks in that, like they notice you looking around, and they're also
have the hood up, but
but they're in terms of and you would gather very quickly they're like personal security to probably the Prime Minister, right? Who just like hooded figure stood nearby, right? They're just aware of you. They're looking. They make sure you know that they are looking at you. And obviously, if you linger too long, they might sort of start to walk towards. But I imagine Aileni would just be gathering the bits she needs and moving through. You would see that the stage is being set up on the northeast side. Again, it's almost like, however, this time it's closer to the to the actual Colosseum ruins, so that it's almost like the crowd will be between the market and the stage.
Right.
And you can see there's areas that are being set up for seating that definitely it was almost like the first day when all the very important people and their groupings had raised platform seating as opposed to the standing. And you're seeing the beginnings of them starting to go up.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I'm imagining I don't have huge amounts of time, so I would head back to the Rusty Bucket.
Okay, so about the time you arrive back, the others probably would be waking. Volu, give me and it's up to you if you want to veto this, but I'm going to say a con save to see how close to the 6 or the 7 you awake, depending on how hungover you are from yesterday's activities.
Let's have a look. But it was a 2.
Okay.
Hungover.
So you are very hungover. You are dizzy every time you've opened your eyes and looked at the ceiling. It's almost like stop moving, stop. I'd say for Ichi, do you want to also con save for me, as you were also with Volu taking part in the shots? Dante, what time do you? I imagine Dante wakes closer to the 6 than the 7. But it is up to you as well because you were racing and doing all other things, and you did transform and expend energy. So it's I'd understand if it wasn't. But Ichi, what was your con save? I'll come back to Dante in a sec. I wanted to let you think about it and
I rolled a natural 1.
Oh wow. Okay, so you are also
Ichi doesn't even open their eyes. They're just there like, I'm never drinking again. Dante, you're going to need to figure out how to get yourself out of that. Because I can't do it.
Dante just bound to the bed, staring.
This isn't I'm hungover. This is we're hungover because you have to suffer too.
Yeah, Ichi, I'm pondering on what an arid. Wow, why have I forgotten the
Grundon.
names? Yeah, the arid Grundons look like when they're even more dehydrated.
Well, like it's that.
What do you have any resistance to poison? That's the other. That I think that's the.
I've got resistance to bludgeoning and slashing, and then because I'm a paladin, I'm immune to disease, but nothing about poison.
No, it's the floral. The floral Grundon are resistant to poison.
Is it floral or was it the swamp?
Floral. They're swamp are resistant to fire, I believe.
Yeah, because the moisture.
Mm.
Yeah. So as normally with like plants when they start to get like a little bit wilted, arid plants obviously are very good at maintaining moisture, so they still look as like inflated as they normally are. They're just slightly off color, like how when someone is really hungover they're pale. Ichi's normally pale. Ichi's like slightly on the browner side of like that, like there is no good moisture in them. It's just all bad moisture, and they're just there kind of like
the body retained the poison.
yeah, it's like
okay.
basically Ichi just needs to lay in a bath for about 6 hours and then they'll be fine, but until then.
Okay, so I'll say that to Dante, sorry, you would wake and hear this from Ichi. I mean, I've always pondered if you'd ever try and get out yourself. I don't know if you ever allowed yourself to have the tools near you. Probably is more the case.
Very little that he would try to do. He'd probably be there just like, let me out, you spiky green slimy thing.
Just for that, I'm fairly certain I'm not talking to Dante right now because that was mean. So no. It's my job as a paladin to make sure you don't get out, Mr. Fireboy. So calm down.
Brick.
So I say that, Aileni, you're as you're getting up the stairs and to your door, there is murmurs. You can't really hear what's being said because it's too low in volume. But there is murmurs from Dante and Ichi's rooms that would suggest that maybe they are up and moving around. No real noise from the room ahead at the moment. You're muted. Oh, you're.
I would sneak my door open first and just peek in to look at Volu and see if he's still asleep or not. And then I'd close that door very quietly, and then I'd just knock very quietly on Ichi and Dante's door if I've heard them murmuring already.
Get me out!
Open the door. Everything
Ichi's
okay?
curled up in a ball. It's just full, like they are under the covers, curled up in a ball.
What's up with Ichi?
Someone poisoned me.
Too much.
They poisoned me so much and I'm dying, but it was still a good time. I still had fun. I just don't enjoy this part.
I'm going to pour a glass of water. I'm imagining there's a ewer with a jug somewhere nearby, and I'm going to get him a glass of water and just pick up Ichi's hand and put the glass in it and say drink. And then I'm going to go over and unlock Dante.
Thank you.
Careful, he might set the place on fire. He's been mumbling about how vengeance will be his and the world will turn to ash and
you'll be able to do nothing about it until you drink that water.
Yep, that's fine with me.
If anything turns to ash, I know what I'll be aiming for first.
See,
Thank
such cruel words from a mean person. So I think we should put the shackles back on.
Have you forgotten that we're accepting our money and our prize today? And that we probably need to be downstairs in about half an hour. And I need to go and dye my hair. I'll be back. And then I'm going to leave the room.
You need to do what?
Shut the door. And head back into my room.
Dante will just go over to this, like, thing on the
I've
floor.
left you alone with Dante.
Yeah. So, and he's just
Yeah,
gonna.
like he looks like one of the tumbleweeds. He's just
just gotta look at him, and just go.
Please have mercy.
This is your fault. And then he'll kick over the glass of water, and then he's gonna like just wander off downstairs.
Ichi just kind of like sighs, nods, and goes, "That's fair enough."
But yeah.
Okay,
So yeah, slowly pull themselves to their feet. They are hating every second of it, but the jug that Aileni kind of like used to pour the water, I will grab that and will tip that over my head and kind of like let that moisture kind of like go down me. There's a little bit of like color starts to come back at the very basis of them, and then they'll just be like, right. Hello, my name's Ichi. I'm part of the Chaotic Embers. Thank you very much for this gift. I would like to not be as hungover as they walk out the door.
Okay. So I'll flip back to. So I'd say Ichi, you're probably coming. Dante and Ichi, you're probably coming out as Aileni's door is just closing. It's not like slamming shut. I imagine it's just sort of softly shutting. And Aileni, so you.
I would get a bowl or a glass or something, and I would be crushing the berries in that bowl. I'm not making huge amounts of noise, but I'm also not being quiet. So I'm just hoping the natural noises would just,
Volu wakes to a weird, soft squishing noise.
Who's wise? No more wine.
No more wine for you. You need to get up though.
I'm used to 14 hours.
Well, I mean, I can always back over my head. I'm happy to take your money for you if you don't want it.
At this rate, that's fine. Put the cover over my head.
I'm going to sort of pretend to like, Ichi, Bolu said I could have his money. That's all right, isn't it?
You're forgetting that I'm from the Fae. I'm from the Fae. I don't really know how much.
Volu, as you're burying your head deep into the quilt, you would remember Tadabori taught you a spell for this. A little bit of restoration. It's a heavy cost, but you might need it as your head is throbbing. And at this point, I feel your mind might also flick to the conversation with Kanda, the satyr from the Feywild that came and met you in Furbolg form last night. Because I imagine the conversation at the end, you were probably a little bit tipsy at the very least. So almost like that rushing memory of conversation coming back to you.
As he's doing that, I'm now like, I'm squishing as much juice out of these berries, and I'm literally like dipping my head into the bowl and like, with my hair and just trying to get as much of that juice on my hair as I can.
Okay. I'd say the first. Sorry, go on, Bowler, quickly.
I was going to. He mopes for a little bit, but as Aileni is just there carrying on, he'll kind of recall the evening, everything that happened, his talks with Kanda, and go, yeah, we need to start moving, don't we? And then they'll just slap myself on the head and cash lesser restoration.
Okay, and with a, you feel the cooling wave pass over you, and now, while not in pain, you do have a aching hunger in your belly.
Bolu
nothing's
always
changed.
has an aching hunger in his belly. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that the hunger came; it's that the pain was distracting him from the hunger, and then now that the pain is gone, all that is left is the hunger.
Oh God, let's hope Volu never does become a BBEG, because
He'll just eat
ravenous
everything.
little like Volu running around being like, feed me.
Yeah, I'd say so. Dante and Ichi, as you were passing and maybe starting to get ready and stuff, you would hear some of the noise and you'd hear the movement from Aileni's room. Volu, as you sit up, Aileni is like head in a bowl right now. You can't really tell what they're doing, but they definitely have their head in a bowl. And it maybe they're washing their hair, but it looks red or maybe black or purple. Maybe there's.
Each as they kind of like walk past will be like, everything all right?
Yeah, why?
There's just like Ichi just heavily breathes for a second as you like that hungover, possibly still drunk kind of thing where they are really trying to focus on you. I hate this, and they will brush their hand up their breastplate and will cast lesser restoration on themselves. Just kind of like wipe their brow with the sweat. The color immediately kind of comes back to them. That's actually a really nice color on you, Aileni.
Thank you.
Really brings out your eyes. Is this for reasons of last night?
Yes, I thought it might be safer.
Would you like a hand?
No, thank you. But if you could save me some food, that would be great. And I'm going to sort of cast an eye at Volu and maybe keep some on one side.
Of course, that will be the hardest challenge we come across.
Volu's in the corner with his stomach going rah rah rah.
He's definitely giving you death stare eyes as you say that.
It's the scene when the guys trading Poe, they're like fighting over the dumplings with the chopsticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Volu's just becomes a monk and is just like. But yes, the rest of you would be able to sort of roll out of bed, start putting on your armor and your other things. How are you planning to present? Because obviously, normally you would just walk around in your armor. If you're not somebody that wants to present in their armor, that's a thought as well. Obviously, Aileni, I know you're gonna cover up and do your own thing, but have the others thought about, are you going finest clothes and brushing everything off, or are you going just standard everyday you? What's the plan? So I'll start with Volu.
Yeah, Volu really only has one shtick, so he's like, just for every occasion like this.
That's fully valid.
Jumps that on and then like runs downstairs.
Okay, is that like there's like a whoosh as one of the leaves like sort of floats off the cloak as he runs down. Ichi, are you as standard?
Ichi takes the morning to like polish their armor, like make it a lot more presentable, rather than the comfortable under like clothes that normally go underneath. This time there is more regal, like there is the ostentatious kind of like collar that kind of would sit out, the plumed sleeves that kind of like come down and then stop, so that there's a little bit more color on show of Ichi. But yeah, it's relatively the same. It's just ever so slightly fresher.
Yeah, I get the sort of like the difference between the military show uniform and the military actual uniform.
Yeah, very similar in aesthetic. It's just one's more vibrant.
Nice, I like it. And Dante.
I mean, Dante's just got to go down and just sit in a pew. He's got to be very just solemn, quiet, if you can believe that.
Are you dressing any different? Are you, because we're thinking about the fact you're going to be on stage or anything? Are you planning to? Are you just going as is standard? Okay. So you would be able to come down, begin eating some food. I'd say probably by the time Aileni is finished dyeing hair and sort of getting ready and coming down, Alara would also sort of be like shuffling behind the bar, like, "Oh, hi guys. If you need anything, Will's gonna stay a little bit longer." Let's shuffle. She's gonna like she shuffles to the side of the bar, but just like sits on a stool and is just like with a big like tankard but full of water. She's just like sat. It was a great party last night. You're gonna be accepting your awards today, right?
Yeah. You should come when you're feeling a little bit more.
Oh yeah, I would definitely come down for that. We were gonna do the parade up the city, but I don't think I will. And for you guys, you know and have heard about the sort of a lot of it's sort of the same beginning to end, right? It's supposed to sort of be a replica. So the parade down, then all of the events have been in the Crucible and that sort of thing, and then once they've done the announcements, they'll then parade back up to the Bastion, where the on-show version of the handing over of the crown is done, and then they'll go into the official parliamentary buildings and do all the actual documenting and the official stuff. I don't think I'm gonna come see you guys, and then I'll follow it as far up as here, and then yeah.
And you said Will's staying up.
Yeah, so the show to the again. You guys have seen he's a young male human. He does the sort of very early morning cleanup stuff. He's been here a little bit later today because obviously the bar was a mess. But you sort of see him as he sort of nods and he's cleaning a glass. You would notice sorry, my words. You would notice a dwarf turn up and sort of go into the kitchen, and there's definitely some moving and pots and pans and.
I kind of just wander over to Will and go, if you can slip us a few extra bits of bread and sausage meat, that would be. And then I'll chuck a gold coin in his pocket.
Okay, give me a persuasion at advantage.
I mean, a gold coin is like
Oh
a
yeah.
it's
Just with a bit of bread and some sausage.
It very much depends.
No,
on how
a lot of bread and sausage. That's
how much.
Yeah,
It's the amount that changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it one extra slice or is it?
Hey.
the
Three.
entire pig and the entire loaf.
Yeah, he takes the coin. He sort of like gives the glass to Alara that just sort of like nods, and he puts it in the pocket and heads back. And you would see that they do just sort of bring out it's they don't have like meals as such. It's like a breakfast. They have a meal in the morning. So they bring out three meals. Volu, there's definitely some extra there. They brought a bowl of extra bread for her, but they've almost done it like extra for everyone. You know what I mean? Like they sort of put it down in the center of the table, and you would be able to eat. Is there? Obviously, pause me if you've got any sort of discussions or specific things you would talk about at the.
I think once Aileni had done her hair and she was vaguely happy that it was different enough from what it looked like to start off with, she would head downstairs. She'd have changed the coat back into its black with it had red on it, I think, for the chaotic embers. And yeah, I would wander over and sit down and grab whatever food is left. And then I'd just be saying, I saw them setting up this morning over by the Crucible. Looks like there's a lot of security around. Lots of security and lots of priests too.
That's good, no?
Yeah, I think so. Lots of what look like private security as well. So I'm assuming there's going to be important people there. There was like the normal guards, and then there were people sort of, stood around looking important and clocking everyone who walked past.
Did you see any of those fellas that were there last night?
No. But I'll keep my eye open. Hopefully, this, and if I keep my hood up, it might be enough to make them think they've got the wrong person.
It could work.
Was Alara here? Oh,
Kind of point
she's
to
like
the bar in the
in
corner.
the corner, like
Yeah.
that. I would wander over to Alara, and I don't know if we need to settle up or not, but I would. I can't remember now if we paid her up front for. I think we paid
think
for.
you did for the
we paid for
stay.
like
I
a
think-
few days, didn't we?
Yeah, you paid for the stay up front for sure, and then you've been paying for food and drink as you go.
Okay, so I think I would go over and say, we might be moving on tonight, and it's been brilliant staying here, but we're drawing a lot of attention. So we'll definitely be popping back and seeing you, but it just might be safer if we're not staying here overnight. I hope you're not offended.
Sure, I'm not offended, dear. What's going on? Sounds serious.
Oh no, I think maybe, sometimes when people get to know your face, they can be a bit pushy, a little bit full on, and a lot of people know we're staying here now, so.
Give me an advantage deception just to play that off as the casual.
Yeah. 11.
Okay, we go. All right. Well, you know where we are. Me and Dana, always there to help you if you ever need it. It's
Oh
been
yeah,
lovely having you.
we'll definitely be back. And thank you. And I'm going to give her an extra sort of 3 gold and sort of just put it into her hand and like hold her hand for a second, and then I'll go and carry on tucking into the food.
What food?
Well, I was going to say, if Volu's stealing my food, he will get stabbed with a fork as that's being pulled across the table.
Can I do some stealth and try and like eat the food as
Sleight
quickly
of
as possible and sleight of hand to eat it quickly before she gets back?
I'll allow a contested roll.
Sleight of hand to shove half a pig down his throat. Yeah, go for it.
Aileni's roll versus a perception versus
perception?
Volu's sleight of hand.
Would it not be a passive for this?
No, I'm not gonna.
Because I've got a
passives
17.
Against, but even if it was the passive,
yeah, you're getting stabbed.
Volu tries to go quickly, knocks his own glass of water over, clinks a bunch of glasses on the way, and as you're like digging the fork in, Aileni's just like glaring with her own like steak knife or like hunting knife in her hand.
Just making sure the juice was clear so that it's cooked properly, and then
just like
pull my fork out.
put it down.
But yes, you would. Dante.
I think Dante. I feel like Dante would just probably have like porridge or something.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Something simple. Did we agree on what this favor was going to be?
Well, we talked about travel, didn't we?
Some sort of transportation.
I knew that we were potentially going to ask glass house for their vehicle. So I didn't know if we were going to go for research in the library, or if we were gonna,
Oh,
or if we were gonna use teleportation circles of some kind, which I think was a thing.
Yeah, so it's either
yeah.
teleportation circles, or you were going to try and ask House Glass for Thaddeus for the vehicle, and maybe ask for access to information and research.
I think the access. It would be a shame to not access the information in the city before we leave. It would feel like a wasted opportunity. And I mean, I'm imagining that we're popular enough with Thaddeus that he'd probably give us the car. And it's not in peak condition anymore.
I mean, the amount of revenue that the company may be about to make will probably make up for the loss of the product.
Do we need to try and ask Thaddeus first and get that agreed before we ask for the favour so that we know?
Might be worth doing that. Just to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, to head over. You could head over there straight away. Obviously, as well, there is the thought about where you were going to stay. You either find a new inn, but there was also the mention that you had mentioned asking House Glass as well to, which they've got the space. It's not like that.
I mean, could we maybe, Volu, could you maybe message Thaddeus and see if it's okay for us to pop in and see him this morning? And then we could ask him about staying there and about the vehicle. I'm just thinking if we turn up unannounced, that might not be quite right. I'm not sure how other rich families behave, but the ones that I used to know used to prefer some notice.
I mean, I guess. So then, yeah, I'll. What do you want me to say, Aileni?
You could maybe say, is it okay if we pop in and see you this morning? We'd like to ask for a favour. It's just something really simple.
You don't lead with that.
Why not? Hello, good morning. Hope you slept well. Can we have a favour?
Yes.
I got. You tell me what to say, and I'll send it.
Shall I type it
What?
out?
Yeah.
I'll
Then
type it out. I'll put
whatever
it in
you.
the thing.
Hi, it's Archie.
No. Ah.
Archie sendings were fun.
Oh, I
very
love
fun.
doing them so much.
We
Especially
literally
for
wrote
unexpected
scripts
people.
down for Archie, gave them to him, and he was like, "Okay, cool."
Oh no, sorry, that's Quark.
That's Quark.
I was gonna say.
It's bad that all your people are starting to pick up on the different voices who they all are.
Well, actually, it just means that the characters are so defined that we can identify them just with a little sound.
That is true.
I'll take that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm not sure you could do that with any of my characters, so that's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
To be fair, Tutu.
I was gonna say, yeah, like speech patterns and such, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just
I
from
also
one
think it's,
sound though.
No, but she didn't make just one sound.
Well, yeah, Chris is always
was
looking for
purposeful.
an excuse to open their mouth and have something happen.
Yeah, Tutu would be more likely to just look confused and just not say anything because it's probably easier.
Welcome to Dante.
Okay, so
But with
Volo, if you want
grunting.
to do your sending, as I imagine Aileni writes it down.
Yeah. Yeah, I would send it to the Thaddeus and kind of in Aileni nature, be like, "Hi, Thaddeus. Hope you slept well. Is it okay if we pop to visit this morning? We need your help.
You have 4 words left.
Love you. Thanks, bye.
Oh,
There we go.
that's really
There's-
wholesome. Big fan of that.
There's not a massive amount of pause before the voice of Thaddeus returns to your head and says, Bolu, yes, you can pop in. I'm just doing some work in the shop. I'll let them know you're coming."
He's all good with it. Sounds in a good mood.
I was waiting for the love you too.
No, he does not care for organic creatures that very much.
Yeah.
If
Cool.
only I was made of metal.
Yeah, if you were an automaton. Bow, bow, bow. Okay.
Paul immediately
Yeah.
starts making a Warforged character, like, must be loved.
But yes, you would be able to finish your breakfast, and if there's nothing else to grab or pick up from here this moment, you would be able to head on out. When you go out, you would notice that Dana's shop still isn't open, but Aileni, you would notice that now all the upstairs windows are they're on a latch, but they're like opened.
That's cool. Getting fresh air.
And you would be able to fairly easily, and there are people starting to wake and move around, but it is the people who still have jobs. Lots of the people that will be going down for the festivities and things. There's some of the people that maybe have got up a bit earlier to finish jobs before they head down. But most of the movement is focused. They're doing their own thing. They're not really paying attention to anybody out on the street. And you will be able to make your way up through the different districts, and eventually making your way to House Glass up in the Zenith Ward. It'll take you about 30 minutes or so to get, probably more like 40, because you don't like to take the stairs. As you wind your way up the city, when you arrive at the gate, as you're approaching, they're already sort of shouting, calling for the car, and they say, "Chaotic Embers, Thaddeus is round in the usual workshop."
Thank you.
And they will almost. And to be fair, now Dante, as you're moving to, it's the one that golf cart-esque, where it's seated in the back and there's one driver up front. It has obviously a worker driver, but sort of as you're approaching, they do all like offer for you to drive it if you wish. Like, essentially, you kind of considered a proficient driver, even though you're not.
Sure, I'll drive it.
Is
And
this
they
the one
will,
with the iced water and the background
Yeah.
music?
Yeah.
I just like this. And to your left, there'll be people who will attack us. And to your right, there will be people who want to love us. We all know there is corruption, starting at the head of government.
Volu, Volu in the group. I don't know about Volu in the group. The rest of you would be able
we can go with that.
Volu in the
Follow
group.
on the group, yeah.
You would be able to drive your way round. As you're making your way across, you would notice that it's quite busy in the different warehouses as opposed to how it's been last time. But it doesn't look like work, more like the receiving of shipments, right? They're sort of unpacking things and getting boxes off the back of wagons, and they're almost like preparing to be busy, if that makes sense. And you would be able to make your way all the way around to Thaddeus's workshop. When you enter in, you would be able to see in the background is the sort of like dented, busted, obviously still functioning, but you did take a few hits and bumps and scrapes, vehicle over in the corner. And Thaddeus is currently working on the machine he had, 1 second, sorry, Val, had described as, that Ichi had seen, that he was describing as like a land tracker from above, or a way to view the land geography from a high point.
I've just realised who Thaddeus is. He's Leonard of Quirm, isn't he?
I don't know who that is.
The inventor in the Terry Pratchett books that always calls things exactly what they do. Look, I've invented this land tracker that sees from very far away.
Yeah. Not on purpose. That's just because names of things. But yeah, sorry, Bolu, as you're entering in.
I never dispelled the flame. So is this
that the chaotic embers is still burning softly on the side of the vehicle. And you would be, if Thaddeus doesn't look up as you're coming in, they're just working on things.
Hi, Thaddeus.
Hello, guys. How are we doing? As he's like, you sleep well? Is
we did. You look very busy.
Well, yes. Everything's a go. Apparently, I'm going to be very busy making or designing or whatever. I need to finish my personal projects in the next few months, and still just continuing to work as they're going. You would definitely pick up a little bit of annoyance. There's definitely as the company's going to get more popular, he's going to get less time to just do what he wants.
He's now finally got to actually make orders rather than just play.
Yeah, like before they were it was a lot of what they did before was mass producible. Like the levitating platforms that you've seen a lot of the loading docks and things use, that's them. But it's literally like stick some zircon on the bottom of a big metal plate. Sweet. A lot of their stuff is very simple to craft, but filling a space that they hadn't filled before with the Zikar. So he's definitely going to have to move away from his wild, crazy inventions and start working on whatever the company or its shareholders might want him to. So he is hurriedly, and he's just like, you said you needed to ask me something, and not looking up the whole time. He's just going to be working.
Yes, I did. It's two things actually. I hope this isn't too much of an imposition. First of all, we wondered if we might be able to keep the car, or maybe even purchase it.
He's like, well, purchase it, definitely. Keep would be up to my sister. That's his business purchase, etc., etc., etc. But buy for sure. They never have issues with those things. But I can ask my sister about giving it to the winners. And he's still just fiddling away.
And the second thing, winning was obviously wonderful, but it has gained us some unwelcome attention. We wondered, we're only going to be staying in the city another couple of nights. Is there any chance perhaps that you have somewhere we could stay to keep us out of the public eye?
Again, he's depends. I mean, you can definitely stay here, but it depends whether you're ready for the. I don't think up here would be any more out of the public eye than anywhere else. But we do have. Yes, let me. There are a few storehouses that used to be houses, if that makes sense. We never really changed anything within them. They are still functionally houses. We just use them to store things. We have them closer to the Zikar processing plants down in the Forge Ward. Other than that, I could ask around. Alternatively, we could always book you a place under our name. So if you wanted to stay in a public, more public establishment. So
I'm going to glance at the others, and I'm going to sort of say more to them than to him. I mean, I don't need anything fancy.
No, neither do I. My only worry would be about I could like Ichi goes to say something and then kind of like looks at Aileni, looks at him, and it's like I would worry about extra rooms being purchased for clear partners.
Yes, I don't like that idea either. They could track us that way. It
Yes.
feels like if people are happy to stay in one of the storehouses.
If people are searching for someone, they'll pick up on the small details.
I am fine with staying anywhere.
Okay.
A floor is as good enough to sleep as a bed.
I will let them know to have the key ready for you when you are exiting.
Thank you. I'm
The-
very grateful, Thaddeus.
Listen, he almost just shrugs and just
Mm.
like, done, no skin off my nose sort of thing. It's just like fiddling away.
Yeah.
Says, well, yes, my sister is very busy and probably will be busy until the end of the show. Some of the shareholders have actually arrived into town now that they have heard of your exploits.
Will you be at the show?
I can be, but again, he sort of gestures quickly to the. And as you look, it's almost down the. Whereas before they were sort of spread out, he's gathered the things that he definitely needs to get done. You're seeing a few different things in a line, and he's like, I will try to remember, but we cannot promise anything.
Don't worry. We understand.
But you do not need to, obviously out of sensible hours, but even really then, feel free to come and go. I have told the people at the gates that you are always welcome. They will tell you if we are asleep or not here. If you ever just need somewhere to go that is watched and gated.
Excellent. I am going to start backing away because I'm just really conscious now that he's not really paying attention.
Dante might step forward and just very kind of lean into whatever he's tinkering with. Just to have a quick glance. Doubt he'll really know, but is there anything that he's looks
So
familiar?
you would be able to tell that actually it looks like a similar system to the jump function on the car. It looks like it has. There doesn't look like to be any screens or any sort of way to manipulate it. It looks more like sensory. You're seeing like dishes and things like that. If you're looking, they would say your test with the jump function on the drive has given me some ideas of how to get it to propel itself further into the air, but still some issues with the return and still some issues with the sensing once we're up there, but I've nearly got it, I think.
Oh, you built us. Worked fantastically. You are a credit to your craft. And we'll just kind of like.
And again, yeah, I know.
But I'd say, and Dante would now just start wandering off.
Yeah, and again, he would just sort of, he's not like, he definitely at no point is like, you need to leave, but he is now just doing what he's doing and very focused in. He doesn't protest if you wander around and take a look at things. Volan?
I'd be like, as I walk away, I'd go, love you, thanks, bye.
Bolu's just owning it now. He's like, I'm just going to say it to everyone.
He's like, yes, see you later.
Yeah. No.
Dante will
Around
probably go
me,
back
he
to the
huffed
car
me.
now, he thinks.
Well, sorry,
Dante will
Dante.
probably just go back to the car.
Yeah, you would be able to fairly easily. As you sort of sitting and waiting and looking around, you're seeing that most of the things that they seem to be unpacking, of like the things left and right, definitely seems to be like the raw materials. So it's like large sheet plates of metal, different cylindrical pieces that you think might make up the engines and such. But also, I'd say Dante, you would definitely notice. Definitely some of the parts look more similar to a combustion engine. So maybe Thaddeus has got his way of a more hybrid model, but
Question. I was meant to ask this earlier and then completely got distracted. We still haven't heard anything back from Madam Oracle, have we?
Nope.
And weren't we meant to receive something back the night before? 'Cause that
No,
was
there was never like a.
They just asked you
Well,
where you were going to be, and we said that
Mm.
we were going to be at the Rusty Bucket. But I
Yeah,
don't
they
think
just wanted
they
to know
said.
where you could be contactable. They've
Yeah.
not told you.
okay. Well then, Dante will.
Oh no, so you went up to.
We went to Jaxie and left a message.
You went to
there.
Yeah,
Jaxie
we
and
went
left
to
a
we went to
message.
Jaxie, and then Jaxie asked, "From where can we find
where-
you?" And
where
when,
can we
like,
find you,
when,
yeah.
like, from when? And I said, Rusty Bucket.
Yeah, and you
that was-
went down there.
I went directly there, so I didn't know.
Yeah, that's fine. There's not been any word as of yet.
So Dante will now remember this. And where is everyone still pondering around this, like the tool place?
I think everyone's heading back
Carriage.
to the vehicle, I think.
Mm.
And I'd say that sort of as you're all gathering back on the vehicle, another sort of attendant's vehicle would pull up and they would be like, "Ah, good, you are here." A messenger seemed quite worried that they might not find you, asked us to get this to you. I said, fortunately, you were here, and it is a gold note as you'd received for the day before the race and all those other things. It might come to the minds of those others that, again, you've told everyone that you're staying at the Bloody Banner. Like, everyone. Like, so all of your directives since, and you got your earlier messages there as well.
They've all gone there.
Yeah, so they've not turned up. Nobody's responding. So yeah, they do manage to almost they're going to your sponsor and being like, "You need your racers to turn up." But yes, there is a letter saying that you are required down by the stage. You're told to actually come in from the east side, and there's a sort of service entrance around the edge of the Colosseum, and they'll sort of lead you around the back for to hide you before the big announcement. They're asking you to come down around 8, probably actually around 9. Because the initial announcements are going to be around other things.
It must be nearly that
Night?
now. 9.
Yeah,
Like the morning.
9.
It must
9
be
in the
nearly
morning.
9 o'clock now.
Well, so because you got back around 6:30, 7ish. It's been about 40 minutes up. You've fussed around a little bit, so it
Yeah.
is definitely about time to
We
head down.
probably need to make a
Hence the
move.
panic.
Yeah.
Is the Rusty Bucket en route to this, or
Ish. Like you have to go. The main road that you would take down to the center is it's an offshoot of that main road.
to be fair, it's fine. I mean, say even the world's most stupid of people would figure out that, oh yeah, the winners are going on the big podium, which the entire city knows. So yeah, it's fine. Dante can hold off for like an hour or two.
Okay. But yes, so
oh, have we got a key?
yes, as you drive towards the front, the person the person at the front desk would sort of say, "Did my associates catch you with your letter?"
He did. They also
Okay,
said
good.
we should also be getting a key for.
Yes, that Thaddeus has had the key prepared, and they do hand over. It is a like proper iron style in the door key.
Thank you. Thaddeus has suggested we keep the car for the time being.
Give me a deception.
Natural 1.
Typical.
We've had some rolls tonight.
So you literally see Dante go like, yeah, and Thaddeus said we could keep this, and then she looks, and then she shrugs.
Dante just smiled.
And she just shrugs, and she also rolled on that one. Sounds like
Yes, 2 fools.
I was going to say, Dante smiling would be enough of a what the hell is going on here?
But no, yes, he's just like, sounds like something he'd do. Make sure you bring it back before 2 days, it will be missed. That's when the cycle.
Right.
And you would be able to just continue on at the gate. It does make getting down there a little faster. As you make your way down, I will say, as you start to get closer to the crucible, can Dante, as the driver, give me a stealth or a survival as you start to come upon more crowds of people heading down for the initial announcement?
That's
sort
better.
of to see how you can
So
evolve.
stealth, it's 23.
Okay, so you sort of start taking a few back streets. You're not that you know this city in any grand depth, but for the most part, a lot of the streets are gridded. There's
Technically, I've been here before.
Yeah, but also it's more just the simplicity of it in terms of for every bit of main road, there is a side street that sort of runs parallel, and you're having to like zigzag through housing estates and things like that, but you are basically still moving down the mountain, right? You can only go downwards.
Even though I know there's absolutely naffle point in it, can I just do a perception to check to see who notices us? Now, I'm assuming obviously a crowd could easily be looking, but just anyone. Is there anyone?
Yeah, drop me a perception.
Oh, natural 20.
Okay.
So that is a 19.
Yeah. Okay, so you're keeping a good eye out. You definitely don't see anybody watching you. You might any of the groups are sort of like, you're pulling towards as you sort of pulling down, you see a little group of the street kids holding their like Zikar skateboard things and turn quickly as one of them is like looking up in your direction. They're almost catching the back of the vehicle and it just looks like a service vehicle. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not looking out for you guys to be driving a service vehicle. So it's almost like as it just
Yeah, so I'm keeping, in particular, I mean, obviously, so I've rolled the stealth now and all that, but not just to avoid people, but just to make sure that, say, we remain unnoticed.
Mm-hmm. And you are able to make your way down as you move down past the Forge Ward and into the Crucible, almost taking a wide route round to come at the Colosseum ruins from the east side. And as you are pulling up, you would almost meet it's not fenced off, but it's almost like cordoned off area that leads into the like service tunnels. As you approach, there would be almost like somebody approaching to take information, but then they would sort of see you and say, the chaotic embers, yes.
I'll just point and look.
Well, yes. So you have a little bit of time. They obviously want to prep you and get you ready for the stage. There will be a meeting prior to obviously for your favor. If we usually like to be able to announce knowing, but that is not for me to discuss. I will send you through to you will meet with a representative of the Prime Minister before heading out on stage with them to receive your gold. For that, we need to know, do you want it in one or would you like it separated beforehand? We can make it a bit easier for you to take off stage.
Separated would be fine, thank you.
Wonderful. They sort of make a note of that, and please head on in. There will be food and refreshments if you need it. Your should be going on in about an hour and a half.
Okay.
You would be able to head down. You head down into even though it's very dry, there's almost that underground air as you enter what definitely was the old service tunnels for the Colosseum. But keeping it fairly simple. It's a straight line. It's lit up all the way down. But as you're moving, there are off tunnels left and right that sort of disappear down into the darkness. That you sort of I'll let your imagination wander about where some of those tunnels might lead. And eventually getting through and moving into sort of a set of rooms that have been laid out. There's bits of food. It looks more like they're getting requests for food rather than having like a buffet style, if that makes sense. There's as you arrive, somebody comes up and would you like any refreshments receiving? Do you have all the clothing you're required to go on stage? And they sort of start just asking you what you need and what you want. As you look around, you can see some of the other people in here, some of the other winners from other days. You can see that there is an almost knight-looking person sort of sat waiting. They're wearing the emblazoned
Emblazoned.
emblazoned colours and insignia of the city. They almost look like a guard, but maybe like a royal guard. If they had a king, maybe it's that sort of. But they're sort of stood there in there, and as you enter each, you would also sort of recognize that it's dress armor. It's their. I can't think of the actual word. What do they call it?
Ceremonial.
Yeah.
Ceremonial. Thank you.
Ceremonial
Chris.
regalia.
Yeah, the ceremonial armors. And you'll be able to take your seats, get any refreshments and such that you like. Is there anything you'd like to do in this short little time of waiting?
No, I think I would just sort of maybe double check with everyone. So we're asking for knowledge, right? Specifically the
is-
restricted section.
Dante would just look at Aileni and just be like, if that is what you think is best.
Well, what else do you want? If you have another suggestion, I don't know.
I have nothing that I need. I am just thinking of others in our group.
I know that Volu thought that there might be information in there that would help him. And I think I was hoping that there might be knowledge in there that would help you, but I know it's a long shot.
Knowing is half the battle. Even if we don't learn exactly how to fix or help, there might be something in there that can point us in the right direction.
And even if that other person can help you, it might be that we could find out how that works.
Dante, in his face, he's conflicted, but nods.
What's wrong, Dante?
Nothing.
Okay.
Is there kind of like any kind of, say,
Tension.
Yep.
is there anything that, say, if it does, what do you call it? Dante's going to like look over, because are there other winners? Because presumably there's the winners of the other competitions and that here.
Yeah, and to be honest, you're seeing a few. You're not seeing like it's not every winner like the some of the eating ones, but you can see that like the cultural food chef and those sorts of things are here. A lot of the ones where again you're almost seeing the politicalness in some of. You guys are obvious because it was the biggest race, but it's almost they've picked that one because they're going to get to talk about the cultures coming together from different places. It's like there's an aspect of that to the presentation as well.
How does everyone look?
Like health wise,
No, just dressed. Are they kind of like? Are they smart?
Yeah, they're dressed up. You can tell that for like, and again, as much as some of them can be, there are some people that are like, clearly nomadic or such that are wearing their best clothes, but it is still, what you would functional for the desert, right? Like they don't always. Some of those guys don't own clothes that aren't functional and useful in situations. Similar to each you wear is more just an extra braze of color rather than a whole extra fashion piece.
Oh, okay. Then in that case, Dante is fine.
Okay. You wait about 30 minutes or so before you start to hear the rumblings. You can hear people starting to talk and sort of not cheer just yet, but that like lots of people talking, that rumble. And again, almost like weird, surreal, sat down in the chambers that the gladiators would have sat down in, and hearing the murmurs and noise above. About 35 minutes in, you would start to hear the clearly thaumaturgied voice, and the cheers begin to start. People start being led out one by one. And you can sort of almost hit just about here. So you hear the cooking contest. There are a few people that are called upon that are given awards for services during. So you do notice that of the knight, that it is excellent service and care during the attack that happened during the weaving contest. They expertly worked through the city, that sort of stuff. And then they call upon the food creators and the organizers, and there's all these different almost starter things that are building the crowd up. Sorry, go on.
I would wait as close to when I think we're going to go up as I can. Is there a mirror or anything I can see myself in?
There'll probably be maybe not specifically mirrors, but there's shiny plates and things like that. Silver plates. And
so I want to use disguise self, but I want to use it to. So the coat obviously looks like brand new black leather with the red on it. I want to use the disguise self to disappear the scarring on my face. So I still look like me. I've now got my purpley hair, but I want to get rid of the scar tissue on my face and my neck and anything that might be showing.
Easily done.
Yeah. But obviously that only lasts an hour, so I'm waiting to the last minute to cast that.
Yeah. So I think before you get to casting that, we'll note that you still do. But probably around the time one of the other people is going out, somebody would come and say, we have the representative for your meeting. You have decided on your favor, yes?
Yes, I believe we have.
Okay. And they lead you through, into a side room with a table and some chairs. And sat down at the table is a dwarf and a human, both male, as they're sort of dressed quite regally and fancifully. And they both stand and sort of bow as you enter and say, "Chaotic Embers, we are representatives of Alar Moonshadow. Obviously, with the discussion of favor, we can discuss terms and any such things should there be needing, but sometimes these things are nice and easy, and you will see that they do have sort of stacks of paper. You get the impression that while it's a favor, this will still be legally binding and done once this is asked for, and all those sorts of things that protect them from you just being like, hey, it's 30 years ago you said you'd do me a favor.
Okay.
Protecting themselves.
We would like to be in charge of your military.
Exactly, right? And
we would like all the Zikar mined from this moment forward.
Yeah. There are certain things you could imagine that are definitely off the table. But they will say, please take a seat, and there are refreshments already laid out, drinks for everyone. And they say, have you well, first of all, congratulations on your very successful win. Took a lot of people quite by surprise indeed.
I believe it took us by surprise as well. We did not expect to win.
I did.
Well, I'd say I did.
Yeah. Well, now that you
I
have...
did not.
Yeah. Yes. Now that you have you given thought? Did you have something in mind before the race, or have you given some thought to what you would like?
We have been discussing it since the race, and we would like access to knowledge. You have a scriptorium here and libraries within that, and I assume the Azure Spire Academy. We are looking for specific knowledge.
They nod. And so you notice that the human is sort of doing a lot of the talking, and the dwarf is writing everything and sort of like adding bits and amending bits. And they say, so if it was not Alar, then I might have thought that the academy might be out of reach there. But with him probably stepping back into role as headmaster of the academy, I don't foresee that being a problem. Access to the scriptorium can be organised very easily. Into the, you say specific knowledge. Is that? I want to understand. Is it that you want to be able to peruse all and access all as if you as the highest levels of our security might, or is it that you want access to specific things?
I'm going to look at Volu at this point, and I'm going to say we probably would need wide access, as certainly for one of the things we're researching, we're not quite sure yet where to start. As for the other, I think we're looking for understanding about how certain magics work. And then I'm going to look at Dante and Ichi to see if they correct me in any way.
Okay. Well, as I said, the scriptorium, mostly historical texts and such, shouldn't be too much of an issue. Obviously, I will make clear that there are some pieces of information, death magic and such, that is forbidden even to the most high access of our own city. But we can give you access to pretty much all of the knowledge we know. I believe it's I will leave it down to Alar how we do this. Sometimes we do it via passes and cards. Other times stations. So as such, a scholar, for example, has access to everything within there. A scholar of certain status. I will leave it down to Alar, but for now, this should suffice. And they cast a spell, and it is, I'd say that you would notice it's cantrip level. Doesn't seem to be. And the dwarf places the written, and you can see they've made a few amendments and they've torn a few off and done different ones. But once they're finished and they seem happy, they put one hand over the finished and one hand over a blank stack, and it copies itself, and then they take the next stack and copies itself, and they do this 4 times, sliding one each over to you to read. It does essentially read, as they've said, that you will have access. The specific access will be decided on by Prime Minister Alar Moonshadow. That you would note it says that your rights and access are reliant on your following the rules of the city. As such, should you ever be convicted criminally or deemed an enemy of the city, attack the city, blah 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 blah, your rights to access will be removed. And a section that speaks on once this gift has been given, this is the you as the receivee understand that this is the favor completed as part of the death race that you took, the Doom Hacker that you took part of.
Liam, have you ever been told that so you should be a lawyer with how eloquent you speak?
Definitely not. I just know some lawyery sounding
good
words.
stuff, though.
But yes, if you are all happy, there is nothing shady. You don't notice anything extra or hidden within there. There is and you see at the bottom there is 3 lines. There is one for you to sign, one for the representative to sign, and then there is a section that Alar Moonshadow will sign at the bottom. Says if you are happy with the agreement, we will have Alar sign each of these and return your copy to yourselves. We will obviously keep the original.
Yep.
Please, if you are if you are at times sometimes challenged, I imagine, again, depending on how Alar decides to bequeath this gift to yourselves, you might get challenged. This contract will suffice of any challenge if you know, new guards, new people working in the scriptorium, any such things. This should cover you. To note, it is worth noting that should any large government changes happen, be aware of the different climates. And for those of you that haven't been in Vercel that long, doesn't really make any sense. Ichi makes 100% of the sense. If you have a good 12, 16 years of one group in over another, things just start to shift and the attitudes start to shift. And even it's been fairly even for the last maybe 20 odd years, you know, like 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, that sort of vibe. But before that, like, part of why, you know, some of the depravity has happened in the past is because they were in charge for 12 years, only really caring for the things that they cared of.
Depravity.
Deprivation is probably what the word I was
Better
trying to
word.
say, sorry.
There, it's okay.
And this is why I'm not a liar. But yeah, so the poverty and such that has been, especially as each you would know for the nomads, some of the nomads' heavy rejection of the politics is due to them not having been looked after for extreme long times. But yes, so they would say that, and obviously each you would more understand than the group. But the group, you get the feeling, right? You know of the War of Book and Cloths and all that. But now your money has been separated. They will award it to you on stage. The contract will not be shown, but Alar will make some announcement of your seeking of knowledge or some other such thing. It will be cryptic, but enough to allure that your gift has been given. Once the announcements are made, you will exit from the stage, and from there you can join backstage for any more refreshments and such if you would like, or you can head on out and enjoy the rest of the parade and festival as you would.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything else you would like to discuss before we
No, I don't think so.
With
Okay.
all what was said.
Okay, in which case they sort of stand. They will shake each of your hands and give you a bow. Congratulations again. And then they will sort of head on out. The attendant will be waiting at the door and say, you are going to be up soon. You can stay in this room and have this space to yourselves for a moment if you wish, or you can return and to the waiting room. We do not mind. So it's up to you, but essentially you can either sit out where all the people are sat, or they're basically saying if you're on in 5, if you want to stay in this small room rather
I think
than
I'd
moving
rather
to
stay
move again.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to be sat next to peasants.
I mean, let's face it, we'll go out, we'll get comfy, and then as soon as we're, sat down, they'll be like, right back in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd rather stay here.
And is there anything you guys want to do in this brief? This is where, Aileni, I think you would change because you've got a 5-minute warning. You do all your changes. So for you, the guys, you would see that Aileni is basically the same, just sans
I might
scars.
even darken the hair as well, Liam, just to sort of
Get rid of any roots and all those sorts of things.
yeah,
And
just to tidy that up. But effectively, all my scarring is gone.
Easily done. Anyone else prepping anything in this 5 minutes?
Not particularly.
Okay. And as after the 5 minutes, the attendant returns and says, okay, they are going to be making your announcement soon if you want to head up towards the stage. As you are moving up, they say there will be some explosions, cannon confetti, those sorts of things. Do not be alarmed, and it will be very noisy, but I'm sure you are used to the limelight by now. And they sort of like walking forwards.
As we're kind of walking up, Ichi is going to put a hand on Dante's shoulder and just kind of like mutter to them, just because now would be the worst time possible. And Ichi will close their eyes, and as they open, their eyes will kind of glow. A mote of light will kind of center into Ichi's like face, go down the throat, down the shoulder, into the arm, over onto Dante. Give them that kind of like boof into the eyes, and I will cast protection from good and evil on Dante. So you are protected against aberration, celestials, elementals, fae, fiend, and undead. You can't be when they try to attack you, they have disadvantage. You can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed by them. If you have already been charmed, frightened, or possessed by such a creature, you have advantage on saving throws against relevant effects. So you now have advantage on saving throws against that little bastard in your head.
Okay, and as that wave washes over Dante, you hear them, and I present to you the winners of your Doom Hakra, the Chaotic Embers. There's explosions of cannons and confetti as you're sort of ushered out onto the stage. You can almost feel the air is electric with excitement as the crowd begins to shout, and there are flowers and other things being thrown towards the stage. Cheers echoing off the cheers echoing off the towering ruins of the Colosseum behind. You are sort of moved up to the stage, and you can see that Alar Moonshadow is stood on stage. Those of you with the high perceptions,
17.
Yep, 16.
would very quickly notice that on stage, but like behind a curtain or just off to the side, is Alar's protection. They are there and ready and like watching. But he appears to all that he's out in the middle of this large open stage as he welcome our heroes, and they like bring you in. You would notice as they sort of, and the sponsors of our winners, as they motion over not to the stage but to a stand, one of the stands over to the side, as again you would see Thaddeus's sister stand up, wave and bow. There are some other fairly richy looking people up there that are like looking very pleased and very happy with themselves right now. So they say, against all the odds, nobody believed steam could conquer fire, but it did. And they conquered the Doom Hakra and emerged victorious. As you would sort of notice, the cannons had got going off. They actually blow steam into the air as in replacement of the usual explosion. As you're taking in, you would see a small line of guards in polished armor stepping forwards, holding like a bag each, definitely still ceremonial in armor, as they say, heroes of the Doom Hakra, you have not only braved the dangers of our race, but you have done so with valor and skill that has not been seen in many years. And again, that's roars and cheers. Today you stand before our city champions. Let the name Chaotic Embers be heard across of all Vercel. And I'm going to point out here, and some of the more intelligent of you will twig this, your name's going to get out of hand if you don't do something about it, because it is being spread as that. Again, cheers.
I think it's a good name, to be honest.
It's not a bad name, and actually, the names coming about of like one good deed is one big deed is not one I hate. I don't hate it. The Prime Minister Alar extends out his hands, and the crowd sort of begins to fall silent. And as they do, your prize, and the bags are sort of showed as they glow. And again, as you guys being closer, they're using magic to make that shit glow. They're like, there's almost like light spells on some of the coins in the bags, but they like open it up, and you hear the like roars and claps of like the people in the audience. And though it might, though we do not know much about our chaotic, fiery new champions, it seems that their mind also extends to the scholarly. As for their favor, they have requested information and knowledge that we have gathered over years about magic and other historical things. As such, Alar, announce each. What is the again my words tonight? Proclaim members of you 4 members of the Chaotic Embers, high scholars while in the city walls of Cadfessi. Jeez, honestly, my brain has gone. With this honor, you will have access to the deepest, richest knowledge that we have managed to gather. And again, there's cheering, but they're also a bit like, okay, like the gold's cool. Most of the people in the crowd don't always necessarily understand the request of knowledge when you've got a favor, especially thinking how big what they're in their heads the size of that favor could be.
So this, ladies and gentlemen, is the DM saying, "You fucked your favor."
No. You guys benefit from this massively. So the average farmer, how do they benefit from getting access to the library? Like I'm not saying it's a bad to the average commoner. To the average commoner, it just doesn't. It's not something they would have thought of.
Some people probably ask for like titles and such. If like being a sir, being a knight, having those regal aspects.
Which adventurers.
I don't know what a book is, sir.
What's learning gonna help me when it comes to harvest season?
Yeah.
I know how to pick a carrot out of the ground. That's all I need.
You're not taking the piss out of Southwestern.
I'll have some of my best friends are Southwesterns.
Feel free to have a go at a northern accent, Chris.
We've had them on the channel.
It is that thing of it's the easiest accent for me to do, really, when it comes.
No, honestly, I do find it one of the easier accents to flick into, but I feel like some of the inflections are similar to northern.
I've been trying to do so. Not to be like going down. No, was it going down? Going down to pit.
Oh, the TikTok! Oh my God, have you seen?
On TikTok,
right, so there's a TikTok where they like girls getting in bed, and she's like, just to let you know, I make some northern sounds in my sleep. Don't be panicked by it. And then it like flicks them in bed, and she's like, I'll never forget that day. Me and my father went down to the pit. And she's just and it's so great. I'll send it later. But anyway, but yeah, 42 miles. But yeah, so so after they sort of allow for the crowd to roar and get loud and sort of then before quieting them down, and they say, our honored champions, we will have parties and feast galore, and should they grace you with their presence, do not overwhelm or swarm them. They are here to enjoy the festival just as we are. Now, our champions, I bid you farewell for now. And they sort of motion for you to exit down from the stage. Each of you is handed your bags of gold, so you can add 250 gold each to your...
is that it?
It's 1,000
altogether.
We saved
1,000 divided by 4.
So many people.
Yeah, but we're not being awarded prize money for saving people.
No.
Yeah, and actually, what I will say, this whole time, the whole day, no one has mentioned that. No one has talked about it. No one's even really talking about the infection or any of that stuff. As you're exiting, they do say, and a happy announcement that all members of the race made it home safe thanks to the great efforts of our Andonite temple. And again, there is a roar from the crowd. And
that's a lie.
There's a moment where Ichi's hand kind of like rests on Dante's shoulder and just kind of gives it a light squeeze as I see those eyes being like, excuse me?
Yeah.
And again, you are sort of ushered away. But now, as you sort of get to the bottom, another attendant says, So as said, you are more than welcome. And the sort of motion, you can see there's an area that's been, it's almost like the VIP section, right? It's been cordoned away, but it's so that you can see the stage. You can see some of the other winners in there. They've got, the drinking and eating and having fun. And they say, or you are more than welcome now to head on and enjoy the rest of the festivities.
I'm going to look at the rest of the guys. What would you like to do? I don't think I need anything else to eat or drink.
To go to need to return quickly to the Rusty Bucket.
Okay.
I may take the car and I can come back if you guys are still here.
I don't think you should be on your own, though, Dante.
Then someone come. And then Dante will start walking over to the car.
And as you start heading towards the car, that is where we will finish part 1 of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. As always, thank you very much for playing. If you're enjoying the story and want to see what happens next, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you know when the videos are coming out. And as always, roll well. Bye. This is the end of part 1. Part 2 airs Sunday, 7 PM GMT, or will be linked in the top right of your screen now. Thank you for watching, and roll well.